So welcome back. This is actually going to be a really quick video, and I'm actually going to talk about a lens that I picked up for the Fuji X-T3. And actually, it's a kit lens that, because I really just got into Fuji, I knew nothing about. But once I started checking into it, I found out that it actually has a pretty huge following, which kind of shocked me because, once again, it's a kit lens. The lens I'm actually talking about is the 18 to 55, 2.8, and I have to look at the aperture. Let's see, it's a 2.8 to 4. And basically it's not a 2.8 constant, but needless to say, I picked it up because I started reading reviews about the lens and how good it was and the build quality and a bunch of different things. And frankly, I'm blown away by this lens. Now you'll notice I have an aftermarket cover on mine, but when I found this lens, I actually purchased it off of, I believe it was Adorama. And they were asking like $217. Put up some videos to kind of show you what it looked like. So what I ended up doing is I wrapped the lens. I got just a cheap wrap off of, I believe it was Alibaba, or no, it was the other one. I forget the name of it. But needless to say, it took a little while for it to come in, came from China. And I would say it's more of a Alpha Guard clone. Same thing with the camera. Yeah, I cheap wrap for this, and I personally think it kind of cleaned it up, but I was really shocked with this lens when I got it. Number one was, even though it was still, kind of scuffed up, and I can tell that it was actually used quite a bit, it was really solid. And that's hard to, it was hard for me to wrap my mind around because having used kit lenses before, and I'm not saying that they're terrible lenses, frankly, I think there are some really good kit lenses out there. They're just not built like maybe Art Glass or like a GM or, some other high-end lens. So I wasn't expecting much. But what I'll say is this thing is built more like an aftermarket, something that's not a kit lens. Compared to like the Sony kit lens, which I've had with the APS-C sensors. I've never had their full frame kit lens, but I would imagine it's probably the same. I have had Canon. There's one more I'm leaving out. Oh, Lumix. And they're all plastic fantastic. This one on the other hand isn't. It's metal and it's really solid. Really feels kind of heavy, especially considering the size of it. It also comes with a switch on the side where you can actually switch between making the aperture ring into an aperture ring, or you could put it in the automatic for the aperture. And then it also has an OIS switch. So if you don't have stability built into the body, well, now you have it built into the lens. It does come with a pedal hood. Wasn't a huge fan of that. And that's actually made out of plastic, which kind of shocked me. So I was like, yeah, let me get a different hood that's a little bit more fitting. I found this one on Amazon. Came with a felt-lined cover. And all of this is metal, which I think is really neat. Goes on pretty snug, too. But needless to say, I have been able to shoot with this. And let's talk about shooting first. So I took it to the zoo here in Colorado Springs. And the images that came out of the camera, I was pretty blown away. I believe I was shooting in Fujifilm bracketing, and I think it was Provia, and I'm going to say Classic Chrome, and then also there was one more, Velvia. And yeah, when I started looking at the images, I didn't really edit them at all, and I just loved how it looked. Frankly, I think this lens with this body is a really good combo. Now, keep in mind, this is a $217 lens and a $500 body. And frankly, I think the performance was really, really great. The other thing, and really one of the main reasons why I started looking at this kit lens, was the video. I had the first and only Fuji lens that I purchased. Well, the first Fuji lens I purchased was actually the TT Artisan 27mm, which I had to send back because I think it was broken. It wouldn't even focus at all. And then I replaced that with a 27mm Fuji weather-resistant lens, so the V2 of their 27mm pancake lens. And that one was decent for the street, but I thought the autofocus was actually not that good. Taking stills, I didn't have very many problems, but when I put it in video, it was not that good. So, and on top of that, it was extremely loud, at least compared to my other autofocus lenses that I had previously. So I went to this lens, and when I got this lens in, I actually compared this lens to that lens just to see, and there was a big difference. Well, first off, the accuracy of the autofocus in video is far superior, in my opinion, on this lens. And then secondly, you can't hear it. Like, it is very, very quiet. So I will highly recommend this lens, especially at the $200 price point. It's almost like it's crazy not to buy this lens. Now, buying it new, I think there's better choices out there because it is kind of pricey, but because it normally comes bundled in the kit and people generally upgrade or they say, hey, I need a better lens than the kit. So then they'll sell this thing cheap as chips. There's also a V2 that's coming out, which I'm definitely looking forward to because if it's as good as this, well, they're just now going to offer weather sealing. So if I come across one of those, I'm definitely picking it up only because I really like this lens. The other thing I would say is that not having the 2.8 constant throughout the zoom range is not a big deal for me. I have been using this for some of everything. I'm planning on using it primarily for, street stuff, but I'm shooting during the day. And then when I go out at night, what I noticed with the other lens is to get the sharper image, I was stopping down anyway, so I wasn't using the 2.8. I believe I'll be fine with this. The other thing that I normally do when I actually shoot street is I don't necessarily zoom that much to begin with. I usually zoom with my feet. So if I wanted to stay wider to take advantage of the, the faster or them having more stops, then yeah, I'll just move. But otherwise, great lens so far. And yeah, highly recommend it. So if you have any questions, feel free, leave them down below in the comments, click like, subscribe, and Agent Fit signing out.